Welcome back. This is Arkady Friedman with Motus Media, and I'm super excited that you came to join us for the second section with Kiran Goojha, the Director of Digital Marketing Strategy at Daddario. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
So we talked a little bit about top-line information, what you should be looking in a marketing plan, some key kind of KPIs, even talking about some of the curriculum that you've been building at Columbia University. So now let's talk a little bit about the creative assets and some of the creative things that Daddario is doing. I know that they're a super creative company. I saw one of their booths that they've designed, and they're thinking about everything in a holistic view. Can you talk about a little bit about some of the creative aspects of Daddario in marketing? And then maybe we'll talk about some of the good things that they're doing in the marketplace, with corporate I would say corporate consciousness and stuff like that.
Sure. So because of the industry that Daddario is in, just baked into its DNA is the fact that they are creative. So a lot of the content that we produce has to be creative, and by creative, it needs to be engaging. It has to be thoughtful. It has to encapsulate our brand mission, and basically show our followers, our consumers, our B2B audience, the dealers that buy our products and stock them in store, that they are part of that they are purchasing from a company that values creativity and values pushing the creative passions and pursuits of musicians. So a lot of the content that we create, we rely heavily on video content because that's the best way to show versus tell. What you have to, since everything that it's funny because we're trying to show digitally what you're going to end up doing physically, because you can't really, you can mix stuff on soundboards and do electronic, but even people who make electronic music still play instruments because they they need to know what it sounds in in reality in order to be able to transfer that sound and build it out and do more creative stuff with it. So a lot of the content that we develop is basically keeping our core consumers and our core advocates in mind, to make sure that they're going to be able to use that content. So we have a lot of how-to content. I've
seen those, yeah. And you have some superstars that are showing you how to do things and how to play the instrument, or what's the benefit of a specific string or product, which is great.
And we try to do that across all of our products, whether it's percussion, woodwind, strings, and we also have one of the things that we do is try to come up with creative solutions for the artists, because one of the things that a lot of musicians do is they kind of hack things together to make their instruments work better. So a lot of the product team works on coming up with solutions to those hacks, something that you don't have to use duct tape and a piece of wire. It's right there. And then we get the chance to put that story together and show it to our consumers. And then we're across all channels where we have email, all the social channels. We've actually seen a larger audience, a potential for an audience built on Instagram versus Facebook. We're also exploring LinkedIn for building out a more B2B community, and that's the way that we're approaching our digital strategy, to look at the messaging not so much as here's a promotion, because we're going to have to throw that in, but how to develop a community.
Which is a great question to ask. I'm sure there's a ton of marketers and brands out there that are listening and saying, how do you help me build a community? How do I scale this? Are there any specific things that you can share with the audience that's a quick kind of tip on building a community?
I think the first, you need to find who your advocates are, and within your advocates, who are your influencers?
Sure.
Because I know that when it comes to building an online community, you could say people could really love what you're doing. You can have thousands of followers, but if people among your following are not sharing your content and are not giving you the credo, the thumbs up that, hey, this is great, and aren't talking about it. It doesn't matter if you have like thousands of followers, like really speaking. So, I mean, this is not, this is not a new concept. I mean, there's a reason why word of mouth works so well. There's a reason why, one of my favorite case studies is just that I always like look back on myself is how Yelp built its presence on virtually no advertising. They did it all through influencer, in-person influencer marketing, essentially.
Yeah. People believe another person's advice as opposed to you saying it directly.
Yeah.
I think that's the most powerful way of marketing.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what we're exploring, is to like delve into our very rich and varied and supportive network and our users and consumers, and figure out a way to keep growing that and to use them as our advocates as opposed to trying to tell them what to do.
Gotcha. So this is, I guess, less technical and mainstream, but how did you get involved in digital marketing? And for younger people looking at this, like that want to get involved, like what would you recommend to males, females, everybody out there that is thinking, how do I do what Kiran does at Daddario, such a cool company?
So I fell into digital marketing.
Most of us did.
Yes, exactly. And I feel like these days there's just so many more tools and more like accessible, like clear paths to working in digital marketing and digital marketing strategy. I think that a couple of like roles that are definitely going to be hot for the next couple of years, content strategy,
content marketing.
Well, content strategy more than content marketing, only because and should not be confused with social media strategy, because content is now ubiquitous across any channel. So it's really about storytelling. So people who are good storytellers, which ironically are your people who have like a solid background in like writing or media or videography. I think people who want there's definitely a necessary need for a marketing analyst, a marketing technologist type of role, people who understand how to interpret the data behind the marketing. Because we have all this data out there. Big data is a term that everyone likes to throw around, but there's not enough people who can actually synthesize that data into actionable insights, and that's definitely something I think we need more people to do.
Yeah, and I mean all these terms that you've broken out, you can go and research them. There's tons of content out there on YouTube. Take your course at Columbia. Not a plug for Columbia, but I mean there's tons of courses out there, but I'm sure yours is going to be one of the best. And maybe to wrap it up, is socially good. That's always a good thing that people are talking about. It's important. How do you give back as a brand? What's Daddario doing to give back?
So Daddario actually does many things to give back, and just to kind of like show that they are part of the community, not just from a product and pushing a product on, but really trying to make sure that they are also thinking about how they're affecting the community long term. The Daddario Foundation basically gives grants for music education in underprivileged areas, not just in the US but globally. We have a strings recycling program. We work with TerraCycle, which is
I'll put some links in the comments or in the section below so that people can find out about this.
And TerraCycle is an amazing company. What they do is they take non-traditional material that your city recycling program will not take, and they recycle it. So it's things like Capri Sun pouches or Daddario strings. So we recycle strings, and we actually...
Are they making strings out of Capri Sun pouches?
No, they aren't. that'd be
cool.
Yeah, but I think they melt it down for the
picks or other stuff that's plastic. Yeah, makes sense.
So and they so we actually recycled I think in November or December our millionth string.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and the program keeps growing. We also have Play Plant Preserve, which is our reforestation effort, because we use a lot of trees to make our drumsticks. So we want to make sure that we're not just taking, we're giving back as well.
That's very awesome. Well, there's so much more we can talk about. Maybe we'll have another segment after you've gotten more entrenched in the marketing plans.
Sure.
And thanks again for joining me.
Thanks for having me.